On this episode of the Layover Live, Seth from Marketing stops by to talk about social media and our museum. Thanks, Tim.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 117 of the Layover Live, where we bring you the top article from the Layover each week. I'm Jason Swick, VP of Digital Marketing, joined by a very special guest today, Seth Spillman. So, Seth, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so over the last several weeks, DMOs have played a massively important role in their destination's response to the ever-changing world of the coronavirus pandemic. But really, so have many of their partners and local businesses. And one of those who has done an amazing job of this is the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum in Oklahoma City. Now, on the show, we have made mention of late several times about creating content that is both informational and useful and entertaining. So this trifecta is not only for your website, but is also important for your social media as well, as it gives it potential to really grow and thrive. And one marketer out there who has been doing an amazing job with adapting their social media is our longtime friend, Seth Spillman, and his recent success on social with Cowboy Tim, which has made national news as of late and is a great example of seizing an opportunity and adapting your social media. So many of you may already know Seth, as his background is in the DMO space, where he worked with OKC for a number of years, growing their destination's footprint. But now he's taken that expertise to another space. So Seth, welcome to the show. Why don't you give everybody a little bit of background on yourself?
Well, thanks again for having me. Good to see everybody on the Simple View side, like you said. As a former web user group member, this is an honor to be back, and happy to be talking to my Simple View pals again. So I'm Seth Spillman. I'm Chief Marketing Officer at the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum. I've been here since January of 2019, so about a year and a half under my belt here. Was previously with the Oklahoma City Convention and Visitors Bureau. Headed up their marketing department, was there about 8 years. A lifelong Okie, and fun connection to the museum. Before I started here, I actually had my wedding reception in the ballroom here 17 years ago. So fairly new to the museum, wow. But it's had a special place in my life for a long time. So, but again, happy to be talking to destination marketers again.
Yeah, it's funny how things sometimes come full circle, right? So, looking at this week, our article of the week this week, Seth, comes from our friend Jay Baer at Convince and Convert. Really, really good article where he talks about 11 social media changes to make it a COVID virus world. And it's really, really, really well done. And so, COVID has certainly changed, again, everything that we do, but it's still important now more than ever to stay connected with your customers and with your visitors. And we agree that social media is one of the best ways to do that and stay connected. So, one of Jay's key pieces of advice in this that I really liked and really pertains, I think, Seth, to you, is to make social media about people over logos. And so he advises that organizations really showcase people as much as possible on their social media, especially during this time, as is really, really important. And your museum has really done a really, really, really good job of that. So so let's just jump right into it, right? So I'd love to hear the story about how you and your team came up with this idea of Tim being the voice of these social media accounts. So let's start there.
Yeah, it's one of those things, like you said, that we all saw something coming on the horizon that we couldn't control. And as marketers, we're trying to figure out how we tell that story in a brand new world. And so one of the other quotes from Jay's article, which I went ahead and wrote it down because it was so pertinent here. It said, "You cannot just continue with your regular social media strategy, content, and cadence. What works is different. What people want is different." And so I think that's what we came up with, was something that was different. And so about a week and a half before we closed, we sat around as a marketing team and knew that there was a potential for that to happen. And so we started talking about what would be different about what we do. And we saw a lot of museums were looking towards virtual tours and what they could take online. And we've certainly done that as well. But the idea was had by our digital content manager of having a social takeover. Marketing staff is not essential, so we are not going to remain in the building during that time, but security is essential. So we knew that the security team would be in the building. So we went and talked to Tim and pitched the idea of him doing a social takeover while we were away. And he's a great sport. He said anything for the museum I love. And so we started out with just a general outline of some of the things that we knew we would want to cover. Got a few shots in the can with Tim, but it's just evolved from there. So we started getting some early traction with the first few tweets and posts that we had out there. We have similar to the destination marketing side, we have a pretty active group of museum social media managers. They have a Facebook group, and they caught on to it quickly. It's not something that we shared in there, but they grabbed a hold of it and started sharing it. I think that helped with some of the worldwide attention, because that's a worldwide group. And so we just saw it spike from there. We had, some celebrities came on board early on. Sarah Silverman tweeted about it. Patton Oswalt tweeted about it. Toby Keith, which is kind of a local for us Okies. So just some numbers. I mean, we've seen 79% growth on Facebook, 513% growth on Instagram, and 3,056% growth on Twitter. That's since closing our doors officially on March 17th.
Wow. I mean, again, marketer's dream, right? I mean, it's amazing. Hashtag the Cowboy has generated just a ton of awareness for the museum, which is fantastic. So, and it's really growing your following. So how do you guys have a strategy in place to turn those social media, followers then eventually into visitors, right? Like, I imagine this has shifted your marketing plans a bit. What's the results?
Yeah, I mean, I think all of it is shifting under us, and so we're shifting. But turning followers into visitors, that's social media ROI, and that's the magic sauce, isn't it? So that's what we're all trying to prove. And I continually think of the sales funnel of awareness, interest, desire, and action. And so the first two parts of that funnel, awareness and interest, we have that in spades now. Mentioned the growth that we've seen. And so we've had good success getting people into that part of the funnel. Desire, we've seen that expressed from people all over the world, which is another fun part of this. So, I need to stress that this has been a team effort, and not just from the marketing team, but from security and from the museum. There's a lot of work that goes into preparing a facility like this, 220,000 square foot under roof. It's a big place with lots of things to show off. And so there are lots of good, smart people that come to work every day when the building is open and do a great work in preparing all of this stuff. And, as a marketer, to be able to share it with people from all over the world at a time when your doors are closed and you can't share it in any other way, that's great. And one of the most satisfying things that we've seen is that worldwide audience. We've seen a number of people say this. We get those messages back of, I had no interest in anything Cowboy. I've never heard of this place. I've never been to Oklahoma, but this is definitely on my bucket list now. Can't wait to come to Oklahoma City. Can't wait to see this museum. So again, the awareness, interest, desire part of it, I feel like we've done a pretty good job. Social media, it's always going to be a struggle. It's similar to DMOs. It's going to be a struggle in pushing them any further down the funnel because you don't have that direct action. We're not set up to take ticket sales online. And so giving that direct action is something that is, we don't have that next step. And also we acknowledge that next action is going to be different for people all over the world. Where we started opening here in Oklahoma earlier, others will not be open for months to come. And so we're already open as a staff. We opened May 4th, bringing staff back in staggered schedules in order to prepare the museum for an eventual opening. We haven't set a date for that yet, but it'll be sooner than a lot of people are necessarily ready for travel. And so, that's part of the difficulty, isn't it? Social media isn't the full marketing mix. And so we know that we've created awareness and interest, and now it's adjusting our marketing once we are able to have a specific date for open. We are adjusting our digital strategy. We'll be doing that targeting based on people who have been engaged with us on social media. We'll be targeting with those specific messages. We've already ditched our previous hashtag. Nobody was using it anyway. And so we are now hashtag the Cowboy. We're going to be working Tim messages into all of our marketing. We had a email go out today for, this is the most direct ask thing that we've done since doing this, but it is now Giving Tuesday now. Did not know that until earlier today, but it's Giving Tuesday now. And so in response to that, we put together a kind of tongue-in-cheek email that reads like a conversation between Tim, Michael Grauer, our McCaslin Chair of Cowboy Culture and Curator of Western Art, and myself. And so again, it's that adjusting the message for something different, something that cuts through the clutter.
Yeah. And, you know, Seth, I think, you know, the part that I think really resonates is the fact that, and why again, I think in your particular case, it's wonderful to generate these followers into visits, and the fact that you've connected social media to a real person, right? A real individual, not just a campaign or a funny promotion or things of that nature, because you've connected it to Tim and done those things. That really helps with that. And the fact that you've done it from a team standpoint, top to bottom. As you know, in the front end, these things seem very simple, but they're very complex on the back end. And you guys have done a tremendous job of that. And again, bringing awareness to a place that maybe a lot of people didn't know about before is really amazing to see and good to see. And I'd imagine, again, that's going to turn to some really good foot traffic for you as things start to open up. Now, you know, I know a lot of folks out there watching right now really know you from your time at OKC when we were talking about that on the DMO side. But so connecting this back to DMOs, what learnings can destination marketing organizations take from the success that you've seen maybe over these last several weeks?
Yeah, I think you hit on it a little bit earlier there, where you talked about actually finding your voice as an organization. And I think that's what we've done with Tim. We found an authentic voice. We knew as we were talking about it as a marketing team before we launched it that, oh, this could be fun. We could have a lot of fun with this. This could be really funny. It's, again, having a partner in Tim has been great. We've joked about how he's now a deputy member of the marketing team and will continue to be so for a very long time. He has a very important job as our actual director of security, but we're going to take up as much of his time as we can for marketing as well. But Tim's an authentic voice for us. He represents our institution well. You know, if you're from Oklahoma, you know a Tim. You're probably related to a Tim. And so I think that the aw shucks nature of Tim and the wholesomeness of what he's shared, I think is true to us as an institution. And so I think that for DMOs, the challenge is always finding that thing that people can experience in your destination that they can't experience elsewhere. That's the reason for getting off the couch and coming and going to a destination. For us, it's the why would I separate myself with $12.50 at the door to experience what you have there in the building? And so what we can do, instead of just shouting at people, frankly, like we were doing previously on social media, we can now engage in a better conversation and get people interested with that authentic voice. And I think there's a number of destinations that do that well. I know that you had Gathan Borden from Visit Lex, my man Gathan, on earlier. Bourbon and horses. Everybody knows that that's Visit Lexington. So it's finding that thing that is authentic to you and that you can deliver on. And for us, Western heritage is something that we can deliver on. It's a little bit more unique than a destination because that's literally what we do. We preserve and collect for American Western history and art to share with the public. And so for a destination like Oklahoma City, which I think also does a good job with that, might be a little biased, but I think their new tagline of Modern Frontier captures that ethos well. Because it is a modern city, but it has that frontier heritage. And I think for a lot of people, that's the something that they can't experience in their own hometown that they want to experience in Oklahoma City. And so for us, if you're coming to Oklahoma City, the Western heritage experience that you're looking for can be found at our institution. And so I don't pretend to have any great lessons other than that, but I think there's a number of destinations that are doing that. I think that's what we're doing a better job of now, ironically, during a global pandemic.
Yeah, and what I get out of that, Seth, is the fact that just own who you are, right? And I think this uniqueness, right? You mentioned Gathan and how hey, we're bourbon and horses, man. We just own that and we incorporate it in everything we do. You guys are talking about using Tim to capture the culture and the voice of your particular attraction. Absolutely. And owning those things that you are, again, it creates those authentic experiences I think people are really, really looking for. Listen, everyone's got attractions, everyone's got hotels, everybody's got a brew trail and got all these other things that are going on. But what separates you from others in the space and makes you authentic and unique? And you guys have really done a good job of capturing that, an excellent job actually of capturing that.
Well,
so
thank you.
Thinking then, yes.
Yeah, and I think that all those things that you mentioned are, from a destination standpoint, are what we used to call table stakes. Yeah, you've got great hotels and great restaurants, and we used to joke about copy on our website. If you can put your thumb over the name at the top and read it and not know what city you're in, then you're not doing it well. And so that's part of it from a destination standpoint, and from an attraction standpoint, it's a little bit different because we can own it in ways that is a little bit more difficult for destinations, but the lessons are the same.
Boy, yeah, really good insights. That's a funny way to look at it. So speaking of then, you're talking about moving forward, opening up soon and preparing yourselves for that. So what exhibits or events does the museum have planned then once everything opens up again?
What do we not have?
$1 million question.
When we open?
Yes.
Well,
things have changed a little bit. Yeah.
It's interesting because we came out of 2019 very strong, and 2020 was going to be the year. In fact, we had the beginnings of a marketing plan that called 2020 the year of the cowboy. We refer to ourselves as the Cowboy, shorthand for a very long name otherwise. And so, yeah, we had a number of things planned that were huge, and we've adjusted that schedule. You can't really see it, but the schedule over my shoulder there, the red boxes are major events or things happening, and I've drawn lines all over that calendar to direct them elsewhere. So not the least of which is an opening of a 100,000 square foot expansion to our facility called Lee Chikoshkamo, which is Chickasaw for Let's Play. It's an outdoor educational experience. It's a place for family and children to engage with our museum in ways that we just really haven't had previously. So it's a big, huge attraction that was set to open April 15th. We have pushed that to the fall. We will open it to the public as soon as we open, and then we'll have an official opening. We've got 2 blockbuster exhibitions that are up right now that unfortunately no one else but Tim is looking at. But it's Warhol in the West, which is one that we co-curated with the Booth Museum in Georgia and Tacoma in Washington. It shows the art and collections of Andy Warhol, someone you don't necessarily associate with the West, but he was fascinated with Western culture. And that show was set to expire in May, and it's been pushed to July 5th. So we're excited about that. We're excited that we've got a Dorothea Lange show up right now that comes to us from the Oakland Museum. It's Dorothea Lange, Politics of Seeing. Some just beautiful photography, and obviously the nature of her work resonates a lot with people in this part of the country, given that she's so well known for her Dust Bowl images. And so that's a huge show that has also been extended to July 5th. We got a number of major events. That's something that's a little bit different about our museum. From a destination standpoint, that's something that we're proud of. And from the destination side, it was something I was definitely familiar with because these events bring in people from all over. So we have our Western Heritage Awards, 60th anniversary of that. It's kind of the Oscars of the West. We'll be honoring Robert Duvall and Kurt Russell. That's been pushed to October. And then Prix de West, which is the premier Western invitational art exhibition and sale. We sold about $3 million in art last year at that show. That's a staple show for us throughout the summer. That's been pushed to August through September. So yeah, we're doing what everyone else is doing right now and figuring out what the calendar looks like and compressing things into a fall that should be very busy and very interesting for us.
Yeah, it sounds like, and Seth, I'll tell you, even though I'm in the West, I would be the farthest from a cowboy that you would ever meet. But some of the events and attractions that you're talking about are some things I would be very interested in seeing. Some of these things sound awesome. And so, hats off to you guys there for, really providing that. Again, it's this excitement that it's bringing to maybe a whole new audience, even for you guys that maybe, didn't look at this before. So, all these things sound wonderful to do. So, in leaving then, any last words then that you'd like to share, with your attraction and DMO friends out there?
Yeah, I think that it's a difficult time. I'll kind of echo some of what Tim has said. There's a picture in the Dorothea Lange exhibition that shows people in line for unemployment during the 1930s. And Tim posted that and said, it was a tough time then, it's a tough time now, but they got through it and so will we. And I think that that's part of the lesson that we're learning is that we're in this together, attractions, destinations. We realize that, we've always known that we're connected, but we really know that now at a time when we literally can't physically connect. And so, no greater words of wisdom, just keep the chin up, keep doing what you're doing. Can't wait to travel to a number of the destinations that I know you guys help with. And again, it's just good to talk to Simple View again. It's good to talk to a crowd that I know is a lot of my DMO friends, best travel dudes ever, all my friends out there.
Well, and it's good talking to you again too, my friend. And listen, appreciate you coming on and sharing all of this. I think it's, again, wonderful advice, beautifully said. Could not be said, I don't think, any better than that. Congratulations to you as well, Seth, and to your team, and to Tim and everybody. And we wish nothing but the best for you. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. It's been a pleasure.
Well, thanks for tuning in each and every week. If you're not subscribed, please do so now. We're also available on Spotify and podcasts through iTunes if you'd like to consume us that way. So thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time, and have a great day.